You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio, where we talk with the world's most successful business owners and leaders to get their tips and strategies for helping you build the business you need for the life you want. I'm your host, Ralph Brogden, and I'm here today with Angela Cudger. She is an international public speaker, a magazine contributor, and radio show guest who has been dubbed the Queen of Wellness. She is a top wellness expert and advocate for women entrepreneurs and corporate professionals. When it comes to wellness, Angela has a clear stance: ditch the stress and grab a strategy for sustainability. Angela Cudger, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you so much for having me, Ralph. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm really happy to have you and to explore what you can share and educate us with respect to this connection. Talk to us about that connection between wellness and business. Why is it important?
It is absolutely vital to have a well body in order to run a business. A lot of people I know go into business because they feel like they're here to live a certain purpose, and that passion for that purpose drives them. One of the things that happens all too often is that entrepreneurs feel like they have to ditch their health for their hustle. And that is something that, for me, I learned as a medical practitioner that they didn't have to do. And so helping them bridge that gap successfully is one of the things that I specialize in.
That is awesome. And you have definitely bridged that gap. You are a very fit individual, and you're also very accomplished. Tell us more about your background and how you got started in this line of work.
Absolutely. After practicing as a respiratory care practitioner for about 14 years, I decided as a non-conventional student to go back to medical school and pursue the field of anesthesiology. One of the things I quickly noticed after I graduated was that many of my patients, many of the people that were coming in were entrepreneurs. And Ralph, they were actually having surgery from things or for things that I knew could be fixed with diet and exercise. And so after giving them, little tips and little bits of information, many of them, believe it or not, started following me online and reaching out for even more help. And so I quickly learned that it wasn't that they didn't want to be healthy with their business. They just didn't know how. They didn't know how to bring those pieces together and not drop one of the balls that we juggle in business, right? And so it wasn't that they didn't want it. They just needed someone to teach them a surefire strategy to bring harmony to both spaces. And so as a practitioner, I slowly started looking into internet marketing. I think that's where most people start online. Did a bunch of courses in those, learned lead generation, program product development, sales, marketing, ads, you name it. I dove in face first into everything that I could learn, not just for my own business, but to find a way to be able to truly reach the business owners who needed the help the most. And so here we are 3 years later, and I've successfully walked away from private practice anesthesia and am completely running an online virtual business.
That is really inspiring, and I really like the way you identified a serious problem. It's a problem of business owners. I mean, well, take me, for example. For the last several years, all of my work has been done sitting at a desk behind a computer or behind a microphone. And many people, many knowledge workers are in the same predicament. We don't get enough physical fitness, and that can become a problem even as we become more successful in our business, and yet our physical bodies are becoming more tired and run down. So what's the biggest reason why business people struggle so much with their physical health and wellness?
Oh, that's simple. It's just not their strong suit, right? When we're in business, and I know this not because I think it's correct, but it's because I've lived it too. After coming out of medical school, my first year in medical school, I packed on about 40 pounds. By the time I finished and graduated, I went from 128 pounds to over 200 pounds. So I know what it's like to hustle and go after something that you're passionate for and then miss the mark in another place that you really wanted to hit to, right? But so quickly, even as business owners, we step away really fast from something that's not our strong suit and something that we feel may not be the highest and best use of our time. We hear it all the time from business owners: outsource, outsource, outsource. And the unfortunate thing is, when we look in the mirror, that body staring back at us, we can't outsource that, right? We got to make that thing our strong suit, right? But if it's not our niche, if it's not something that we can quickly shine in to keep that momentum going in our business, we just completely walk away and step away from it. And the years go by and our business flourishes, but our body suffers. And it's unfortunate. And because it doesn't have to be, there is a way. A lot of the strategies that I teach to business owners are the same things they use in their business. I just teach them how to apply those things to their body, teach them how to apply it to their wellness so that they can do both things and they feel strong in both areas.
I really like that. And I think you've tapped into a really psychological thing here. Specific to business owners, because we have been taught play to your strengths, outsource your weaknesses, and build a team and do what you're good at. So what I'm good at is sitting here on the computer writing and doing things. I'm not good at physical fitness. I don't enjoy it. So the traditional business mindset says, well, focus on your strengths and don't worry about your weaknesses. But the problem, as you point out, is if our bodies are not where they need to be, our business eventually is going to suffer.
Absolutely, yeah. Because as your business grows, the average person, that grows the business online, at some point they want to be featured virtually. And then at some point, someone wants to feature them in person. And the great news is that you get to show up in person. But unfortunately, if you don't look on brand, it kind of throws things off, right? It makes people think like, oh, you've been hiding behind this computer for a reason, right? And no one wants to literally be the elephant in the room. And I know a lot of people may not like that, but no one wants to be that elephant in the room. You know what the beautiful thing is, though, Ralph? The beautiful thing is that it doesn't matter where you are with your health and wellness. What matters is that you're bold enough to say that this is where you are now, and you recognize you're new when you see it. When you say, that's what I want. How do I get to that? We do it all the time in business.
You mentioned earlier that you had put on so much weight. When you started off in medical school, you were 120 something, and by the end of that, you ended up 200 and something pounds. Tell our listeners, how did you go about even beginning to reverse that to get back to where you are today? I think that would be inspirational.
The first thing I did that I think a lot of people skip, we reach out there and we grab those programs, products, services, things that we see that we think resonate with us and are going to work for us. But the first thing that has to happen is we have to actually decide, right? We have to get beyond the point of how did I get here? Where do I want to go? And actually decide that the destination will be reached. Same thing in business, right? We do revenue projections every quarter. You should be, right? So that things so that you stay on top of everything in your business and you scale it and you get to your end result, right? So we should do the same thing with our bodies. Take that inventory and say, okay, I've gained X amount of pounds in this amount of time. I want to lose this amount in this amount of time. Or, okay, I eat out X amount of times per week, I want to decrease that and start doing some meals at home. So I can commit to 3 meals a day at home 3 days a week. So it's about deciding where you want to be, and almost like setting those goals in business. You have to do the same thing for your body. You have to decide that this is going to be the end result. This is what my projection is going to be, and this is how I'm going to reach it. Right? Same thing we do in business all the time. Same thing.
That really resonates, because we do have those skills that we bring to our business in terms of numbers, projections, setting goals, defining what the what the metrics are going to be, what the deliverables are going to be. And then we look at our body and we're like, I don't even know where to start.
And in business,
like
the great thing about it is, in business, we always have a plan to the plan to the plan. I'm going to launch it, and if that doesn't work, then I'm going to add an ad to it, and then if that doesn't work, I'm going to email my list again, and then if that doesn't work, I'm going to rinse and repeat. Like, we have all this, but when it comes to the same thing applies to your body. Get a plan to the plan to the plan. Right? If you're skipping a meal, what do you have in your arsenal that you can eat quickly that will not derail everything that you've done already? What do you have who do you have that you can call to help keep you accountable when you need it? So it's about having that plan to the plan to reach that goal. We do it all the time in business, but for some reason, when it comes to our body, we feel like we can't do those things, right? And it's not true. The same things can be applied. It's simply not true.
You make it sound like it's really, really easy, but it's probably a little bit harder. If it was really easy, everybody would be doing it, and everybody would be doing it for themselves. So it sounds like you're able to do it, but how would working with someone like you really improve our chances for success? You look at someone that they've been trying to do it on their own, and it's like with anything else. If you can't do it, you can't do it. What are the options, and how do you take someone from where they are to where they want to be when you're working with them?
So the way that I actually do coaching is what I call a top-down approach. Same thing we used to do in medical school and medicine and everything. I do what's called a top-down approach, and we start with the mindset, right? And we look at where they are and how they picture themselves. Even your business cannot grow if you don't believe it will. It can't go to the next level if you don't believe it. It will. If you don't believe that you will get everything you need to serve the clients with the product, the service that you offer. And so the same thing applies in health and wellness. We start with a top-down approach, and we dig into why the person has not been successful at anything that they tried. Now, it's different if they haven't tried anything. Then we can walk right into strategy, as long as with the mindset work, they prove that they've got this positive body image, because that's the thing that's going to come up every single time. 80% of who we are and what we look like is the place that we operate out of, physically and spiritually, mentally and spiritually. 80% of what we do is, and how we look, is how we operate from our minds, from what we think about ourselves. The other 20% is all the other busy work, the going to the gym and the prepping the food and the getting an accountability partner. That's 20%, because even the best laid plan can be halted with someone who simply doesn't believe that they can do it. So we start with a top-down approach, and we start with the mindset, and we go right into that thing that holds them back. And then, like any other sore, we open it up, because a wound can't heal until it gets air, right? We open it up and we see, okay, let's let you heal from this space. And at the same time, let's lay out a strategy to get you to where you want to go. Right. And we do it in such a way that doesn't overwhelm the person, because overwhelm will always halt anything, whether it's in business or whether it's in wellness. The overwhelm will always halt everything. So we make sure we lay it out in a way that feels good to the client. So if they say they hate running, running's not going to be a part of their strategy. There's so many other things that you can do with your body to move it and get where you want to be physically too, without having to do what everyone else is doing. So.
Wow, that's really encouraging. And I think probably the biggest thing you touched on is overwhelm. There's so much information, so many different choices about how to exercise, how to eat, what to eat. How do you help people get through that overwhelm and really focus in on the strategy that is unique to them without making them feel like there's so much going on that they just can't stick to it?
We help them zone in on whatever goals they want to do. And so say, for instance, if someone says that weight loss has been their issue, a lot of times weight loss comes from a weight and holding on to weight. It has a very distinct correlation to, and this is scientifically proven, has a very distinct correlation to things like depression, things like past traumas, like past hurts, pains, things that people are not willing to let go of, in many cases will manifest itself in the form of body weight. And so for someone who says, I've tried every single thing I can think of, but this weight will not move. I've never been thin. I've been even a heavy teenager, things like that. So it just depends on the person's goal.
Like me, I'm big bone. Can I just get away with a little bit extra?
Listen, let me tell you, Ralph, I've never in all my 17 years of practice, I've never seen a big bone X-ray ever. Let me just put that out there. I've never seen one.
You just shot down my last excuse.
But you can get to where you want to be. And it just depends on what your goals are. And I help them navigate through what goals should be important, right? Like weight loss shouldn't be at the top of your list when you're still drinking sodas and things like that. We've got to fix the food first before we start saying pick up the weights and go for a walk. And no, let's fix the plate first. Let's look at what's going into the system, right? So that's a big part of it as well. So it just depends on what the person's goals are, how they see themselves, incorporating that top-down approach. And a lot of times when we fix their mind, a lot of other things come up for them. One of the beautiful things that always happens, that I always tell people, if I can get your diet clean for 7 days, your life will change. There are so many more business ideas and greatness that is untapped in people that they would never realize because of the stuff that they eat. And it's a very different kind of approach, but every single person that allows it comes back and they say, oh my God, I thought I was brilliant until you cleaned up my plate. And that was one of the things that I quickly noticed after coming out of med school. I knew that from all the overnight, the chips and the McDonald's and you name it, I ate it. It was medical school. You were lucky to get a meal, right? You were so busy, right? So for me, coming out of that space and moving beyond the why did I get here? How did I get here? You know, from being a runner every day to someone who's obese or classed as obese, you know? So moving beyond that and then getting to the space that says, wow, I had no idea of the brilliance that was here until I actually cleaned up my plate. So.
I really like that holistic approach. And you got a real holistic approach to everything. You're saying your spirituality, your mental, emotional health, your physical health is all connected. And then how you go about your business, the success of your entrepreneurship has a lot to do with your physical, mental, and spiritual health as well.
Absolutely. And energy is everything, you know, whether it's in your business or whether it's in your health and wellness, you have the ability to attract to you the people that will help propel you. And so it's more than just cleaning up the plate. It goes a long way, right? All the way through to your client. And that's powerful stuff. It's worth any entrepreneur stopping and taking a peek and say, how can I at least take this to the next level? How can I at least do this for my wellness this year? Not everything, but just one or two things this year that will put my wellness into a space of harmony or get me closer to that space. It's worth stopping and taking a look at.
Well, it really makes me think, and I like what you said, energy is everything. So I'm thinking, you know, it goes on in the afternoon, about 4 p.m. It's not quite the end of the day, and you're in that energy slump. I feel that slump where I'm like, you feel like you want to just kind of check out. Mentally, you probably left work an hour before that. What do you recommend just as a way to say, okay, don't do what people usually do when they feel that slump? What are some alternatives, just some quick little hacks people can do to begin to take control of their energy and not do the knee-jerk reaction of, okay, let me grab another coffee and try to prop myself up. What's some other solutions?
Well, it's a scientific fact that any movement changes your mood in a matter of seconds. And so if you're in kind of a tired mood or that midday lull, a couple things could be going on. Most people are dehydrated. So grabbing something that further dehydrates you, like a caffeinated beverage, coffee or tea, is not the answer. It's actually going to take you further the other way. So you want to try to grab some fresh water, cold water if you can get some, and then you want to move. You want to get up and just do a quick stretch, right? Whether it's a toe touch or leaning to the sides or twisting or bending, something that quickly gets the blood moving and flowing. And it doesn't have to be something that breaks a sweat. Your body just wants to move. As soon as you start to move and you move for a couple minutes, you'll notice that your mood changes significantly because you're getting more blood flow to the brain that was initially tired, right? So that, and then getting something like fresh water works best. And have fun with water. A lot of people make it boring, but have fun with water. Right, have fun with it. Drop some fruit in it, any kind of fruit, berries, citrus, mint, basil, cucumbers. Drop some things into your water that make you look forward to actually drinking it. And so that typically helps a lot. Mm-hmm.
That's cool, and that's really good advice. I think people are generally chronically dehydrated. They have their coffee in the morning and they just don't get enough water. Is that true?
Absolutely. One of the things we always used to say with our patients was, "You're not sick. You're just thirsty, right? You got kidney stones and all this other stuff because you're thirsty, right?" So that's 75%, though. I think is the last statistic of last year when I checked. 75% of the U.S. population is chronically dehydrated. Most people simply don't get enough water, and then we're inundated with all the information about what to drink, when to drink, how to drink. And for me, I always tell my clients, just drink. Like, don't overthink it. Have water on your nightstand. Have water wherever you go. Have a designated bottle with you and make it a ritual for your body. But just drink water. Get something in you. And so that typically helps a lot. But yeah, a lot of the population is dehydrated, believe it or not.
And so that's interesting in terms of drinking. And then it says that you are a devout vegan. So, and also that you really endorse the use of whole food, nutrient-dense sources. Give us some example of some good, healthy, energetic foods like that we can eat.
Mm-hmm. And so I always tell my clients, grow, pick, wash, eat. Grow, pick, wash, eat, right?
I like that,
Get your food as close to this as possible. Now, depending on where you live and all these different things, that may not always be what's accessible to you. But for something in everything you eat, have something on your plate that has never been processed. All it was grown, picked, washed, and it's ready for you to eat. So get your food as close to that as possible. So greens, fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, grains, these things that don't take a lot of processing, but that you can look at it and you can say, okay, this is an apple. They didn't do anything to it. Right. It hasn't been pre-cut. They didn't have to do anything to it. All I have to do is wash it. Somebody else grew it and picked it. All I have to do is wash it, eat it. Right. So think of it that way. And you'll find that you get a lot more whole food sources in that way, as opposed to if you got to stop and take a look at it and say, I wonder how this was made, then you probably shouldn't consume it. And here's the reason why. It's not just because it's not good for you, but Ralph, it's because food is information. It's like putting a virus into your computer knowingly. Food is information. And the further food gets away from its grow, pick, wash, eat state, the more it has to be processed, the more confused the body gets in processing it. And so it says, I don't really know are these Cheetos? Like, what are they? Yeah, I don't really know what this is. So I'm going to process it.
We didn't grow it, right?
Right. See, there you go. Exactly. And so if you've got to think about what this is going to do when you eat it or what it's made of or what it possibly came from, then it probably isn't going to work best for your body. Probably isn't going to work best. It's just going to confuse your cells. And unfortunately, our cells are like these little data hubs. And so whatever information we give it, it tries its best to process it. And then when it can't process it, it turns it into other cells. And that's how people get growth, like pimples, like cancer, like all these other different things. It's because the body's just, I'm confused about what you want me to do with this information. So that's how it works.
Really good information. You are a real wealth of good information and wisdom. I'm curious, are you working on anything right now that's got you really excited in this area?
Yes, I am stoked to bring back Wellness and Wealth. It's a closed door mastermind. It started out at 6 weeks and then went to 8. Now it's 10. In this mastermind, we pulled together some amazing experts that are just as knowledgeable as me on the business side as well as the wellness side. And so the individuals in this program get one-on-one attention in addition to group attention. So they get that accountability now, and they get it in a way that's not overwhelming, and in a way with people that they can automatically link arms with, like-minded individuals in business that want to take care of their body as well. And they get to have this amazing journey. So we're excited about that. That actually launched this week. So we're very excited about that.
That's really cool. And what's the name of that again?
It's called the Wellness and Wealth Mastermind.
Wellness
and for anyone
and wealth.
And for anyone looking for information, they can find me across any social media platform at Queen of Wellness.
Queen of Wellness. Look her up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the social media platforms. This has really been educational and actually inspiring and motivating. I'm going to have to get up and move around a little bit now.
Just stretch. Right.
So this has really been good. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners?
Take your time. Start where you are with what you have. Start low, go slow. Don't ever fall off. Whatever you start, do it until the day you decide to leave this earth. So if you're going to drink your water or if you're going to go for that short walk once or twice a week, do it and stick to it. Don't ever go backwards. That's what I have to say. And don't get overwhelmed by what everyone else is doing. Do what feels good to you.
I love it. Words of wisdom from Angela Cudger. She's an international public speaker, magazine contributor, radio show guest, and most importantly, the Queen of Wellness. Thank you so much, Angela, for being on the program today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at ralphbrogden.com.